Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfris, back with episode 102 of our Reddit series. This one's going to be a little bit of ProRevenge, and I have a feeling you're going to love this one. We haven't really delved into the realm of ProRevenge recently, so here it is. I know you guys love ProRevenge, and I know you guys love the revenge subreddits in general, so if you want to see more of them, don't forget to smash the like button on the video, then sit back, relax, and enjoy some ProRevenge. Before I get started, a little bit about my field. It's the infamous IT or information technology. Yes, you could say I'm a modern day slave. I'm not a techie, but a professional who manages other techies. I assign projects, coordinate, administer projects, and do what is known as talent management at a junior level. Since I didn't earn direct revenue, I was not considered as valuable as a real technology guy. At the same time, I needed to work well over 50 hours a week without additional pay, and sometimes work weekends too. In the situation I was in, you could say this was a reasonably well-paying but stressful job. My solace were people who knew what value I was bringing to the table and became friends. Learning was great, so far, so good. Since I was a cheerful soul, I didn't mind extra work and was generally considered a maintenance-free resource. Because of this, my boss had high expectations of me. I was from a humble university and a small city, and I was hesitant to trumpet my achievements. I was under the impression that my work would speak for itself. At the time, I was far away from my hometown and freshly heartbroken in love, and thus was devoting all of my free time to work, like 100% devoted. The company was growing, and so my department was as well, and I got 2 university freshers as trainees to support my work. I was given a hint that if everything goes well, I may get promoted as an assistant manager. At the time, I was happy. The fresh grads, let's call them Jane and Joe, were really cool, and we became sort of buddies. I did my best to teach them the work and acted as an informal mentor. As time flew by, we started sharing our stories, started going out for weekend drinks, etc. One evening, when I was finishing tons of paperwork for recruitment drives as I was in HR, we were discussing our salaries. Jane pointed out that I was really naive and possibly a fool not knowing my worth. She said she noticed just how hardworking and genuine I was, and because of my nature, she is letting the secret out. Turned out, despite me leading the team and having 3 years of experience in the field, I wasn't even making half of what she was offered. I was surprised and felt really insulted, not because of her, but my boss, and I started planning my exit. I really wanted to make it grand, however, I didn't know how to go about it, and then it dawned upon me. I was an asset for this firm because I could do multitasking in 2 or 3 different fields. I started saying yes to almost any project that came my way, started working on weekends to execute it perfectly, just to refresh my knowledge. And of course, I started attending interviews. I ended up with the job, and I negotiated my salary that was 3 times of what I was making. I outperformed competition thanks to the extra work that I'd taken up, and because of the extra work. In case you wish to know, there were talent engagement programs, HR insights, and business analytics. I can't pinpoint exactly who the a-hole in chief was in my management team, but my immediate superior was a spineless guy and a yes man to his boss. His boss, let's call him Peter, was a truly unique piece of crap that I've ever seen. They gracefully told me that they are still reconsidering my promotion. It was 6 months since I successfully managed 2 projects and overachieved the targets that they gave me. So, I requested some vacation as I needed a break, and they obliged. I went to my hometown and spent 2 memorable weeks with my mum and dad, and I told them that I was moving forward to another job. I finished my vacation and reached my office looking my best. I brought some gifts for everyone in the department and gave a small treat and then put my resignation on the table. I did see the piece of cake that was literally getting stuck in the throat of the boss. They immediately sprang into action to know what was wrong. But then I figured they needed at least 2, if not 3 people to do my job. I enjoyed during my notice period and very politely said thank you for everything to my boss, who was playing nice in front of me all along. After a couple of months, I got a confidential call from the vice president of HR requesting some inputs. I shared my first-hand experience, consistent top-notch performance, and their treatment. She apologized profusely and said that I had an offer on the table if I wished to join. I left the city as it was planned, went on to a new fresh start, and grew well in my new organization. The bomb for this one, I recruited those 2 buddies who I had to train, in a different branch of my new company. After a year, I heard that my department didn't exist anymore. Top management couldn't justify the cost of 4 senior people that they had to hire to replace a team of 3. I feel like I can't exactly pinpoint the exact type of pro-revenge that was in this, because I feel like it was some kind of multi-layered revenge, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Because when you look at it, you've got the first bit of revenge with him quitting because they were underpaying him and treating him obviously not fantastically by the sounds of it. Then you've got the second layer of it in that he took the grads over to the other company, so there were out 2 more staff members. And the third layer being that as a result of this, his old team completely shut down. So in summary of the absolute gibberish that I just spoke, I feel like individually the revenge isn't fantastic, but the overall and what happens at the end of it just makes for some perfect revenge. Okay, so there's this lady in my neighborhood's homeowners association who gets extremely pissed off when people feed the ducks at our neighborhood pond because the ducks crap where they aren't supposed to or something like that. So an old lady that is like 60 goes down to the pond and is feeding the ducks some grapes, and the lady, who we're gonna call Karen, sees her and walks down and starts screaming and cussing at this old lady for feeding the ducks. At the next homeowners association meeting, the old lady's daughter, who we'll call Diane, goes and starts cussing out Karen for screaming at her 60-year-old mum. The meeting was taking place at a pizza parlor, by the way, and Diane is kicked off the HOA and Karen gets off scot-free. Well, a man, who we'll call Dave, goes and asks what that was all about, and Diane tells him the whole story. And when he hears it, Dave is not happy. So Dave goes and buys about £60 worth of bird feed, finds out where Karen's house is at, and makes a trail of bird feed leading from the pond to Karen's house. Once the trail gets to Karen's house, he covers her entire yard with bird feed. Karen lives about 2 houses down from me, so I could hear the scream when she woke up to see about every duck in our neighborhood, which was about 50 ducks, converging on her lawn. Her lawn is trashed with duck crap and smells like it too. Long story short, Karen was kicked off the HOA and Diane was allowed back in and got some sweet revenge. Man, this revenge is some good revenge. It's like petty and pro-revenge mixed into one, and honestly the result was perfect. Honestly, there's just no other way to put this than it's just straight up ducking fantastic. And yes, that was incredibly lame, and I'm so embarrassed that I actually said that, and yes, I also stole that from the comments, but sue me. This happened very recently, and I feel pretty good about it, to be honest. So I took a job working in a popular restaurant as I needed money to achieve a lifelong dream. I've previously worked at other restaurants and have a culinary degree as well. Those who's got hired in the kitchen, however, are not. To give a bit of background, they leave meat, fish, pasta and sauces out in the open in uncovered containers with the back door fully open, allowing bugs and other things to enter and do as they please with the food. They also do not keep vegetables cooled down and have them set out close by to the stove, which is obviously very unsanitary. I did what any sensible person would do, despite being new, and told them how wrong it is and that it could kill someone. Their reply was that I should shut up and respect the elders. The owner sadly protected these practices. When it came to teaching me the dishes, I spent my first day just observing how they made the dishes that were ordered, and the following day I was actually starting to help cook the food. Now, I did exactly how they did it after my day of observation, and yet it was somehow wrong. And despite me doing it the way they showed me and how to do it after the first time they claimed it was wrong, it was still wrong and they shoved me out of the kitchen. They even went to the owner and complained that I'm useless and they don't believe in me, that I'm just dumb and fat who belongs on a couch eating myself to death, among other much worse words. The owner came to me and told me what they had told him, but he did say that he believed in me, so that was reassuring at least. I know there can be a very harsh tone in a kitchen and I'm used to that, but not that harsh. I continued to take the abuse for another week, and I should note that I deal with anxiety issues, so not breaking down in front of them took a lot of energy, and I decided that enough is enough. So I sneakingly took pictures of the kitchen with the unsanitary methods and sent an anonymous letter to the food safety department with the pictures. After 2 days, they show up unannounced and declare the place a health hazard, forcing the owner to throw all food away as they weren't sure how much had been tainted and they didn't want to take any risks. He also had to pay a very hefty fine. I must admit, I did feel bad at first because I liked the owner, but I had to do something about the other cooks as well as teach the owner a lesson about the unsanitary things. The cooks got sacked, and as they were immigrants and no longer had a job, it meant they could not stay in the country and they would most likely be deported back to where they came from. I had to leave shortly thereafter too, as the owner couldn't afford to pay wages after that fine, and at least those cooks got what they deserved. I am positive about finding a new job soon, at least I hope so, as there is kind of a deadline for earning enough money for that dream I have. Now this is not like, it's not an attack at this post or anything, but I feel like the quality in ProRevenge is really just lacking lately. Like, I remember we could make such good episodes of ProRevenge going back a few months ago, and if you look at the subreddit now, and you look at posts in like the last week or two, there's just nothing there. Like, you can literally see all the posts that have been done on the same page. I don't know, I just feel like ProRevenge was such a good subreddit and it has so many members, so it really just surprises me to see a lack of content, but at least we've got some kind of decent stories like this one still. So for some reason, my 8th grade science teacher hated me. He was one of the 2 science teachers for our grade, so he could basically do whatever he wanted in our class and get away with it since the school didn't have a replacement. He would do all sorts of petty stuff to me, like grading tests and practical assignments wrong. The thing was, you had to do practical assignments with a partner, so he got bad grades because of me too. He would accuse me of breaking tools, even though I saw him break them beforehand and then give them to me. So one day I was homesick from school, and on that day we had a major science test. So at like 3 PM in the afternoon, I sent him a message saying, "Hey, OP here. Since I was sick today, can I maybe take the test on Monday?" He sent me a response 2 days later at 1 AM, and I think, let's see where this goes. The message read as follows. Monday, 8:15, classroom 320, no calculator. He always acts passive aggressive with me, but what he didn't know is that I had conspired with 2 of my classmates and they had recorded him in the lesson saying, "You can use a calculator for the whole test." We recorded everything when this man made an announcement, and he only did it once every 2 lessons, so our phones didn't get filled up. I've also been filming him breaking stuff and then giving it to me at the practical, and then recording him accusing me of breaking it. While the lessons were going on, almost everyone was messing around on their phones, so it wasn't out of the ordinary for me to have my phone out. So, when I showed up to make the test, he was 10 minutes late and he said, "I hope you remember, no calculator." I just said got it and made the test. Now, this test was almost impossible without a calculator. I saw him laughing to himself the entire time. So 2 weeks go by and I get my grade. I got a 3 out of 10 and I think that's like an F, so I did what anyone would do. I gathered my 2 friends who had the evidence on their phones and I went to the principal. I explained the entire situation and shown them all of the footage that we had gathered. He called the science teacher in and asked us to leave the room. 5 minutes later, he calls us back in. He informs us that we will all be suspended for 5 days for filming a teacher, but that the teacher will be fired and never allowed to work at that school again. Oh, and if you're wondering, I was allowed to retake the test and got a 9 out of 10. Needless to say, I felt pretty good afterwards. I mean, it could just be me, but it seems a little bit rough them getting suspended when all they were trying to do was gather some evidence against a teacher who was clearly treating them very unfairly, but like I said, could just be me. But I mean, at the end of the day, the teacher was doing the wrong thing, and even though they did get suspended, the teacher got what he deserves, so at the end of the day, all is well. Alright everyone, that is going to be that for today's episode of ProRevenge. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Just quickly, thank you to everyone who's still stuck around. I was gone for about a week or so, just a nice little getaway to get into some warmer weather. Those of you that are from Melbourne or even Sydney, Tasmania, know how crappy the weather is right now, so it was really nice to get away to some warmer weather. But back now, back at work and, you know, having a great time. Anyway, enough gibberish, I don't want to ramble on like I said. What we're going to do is probably some entitled parents tomorrow, but I do want to get back into doing different subreddits. I'm kind of sick of doing the same ones over and over, so let me know in the comments below what you would like to see in terms of subreddit. Even if it's not Reddit, heck, I don't mind, you know, if you guys want to see like funny Facebook things or mix it up with face cam or just something different, let me know, because seriously, like it would do me the world of good to be able to mix things up and, you know, you guys to actually want a little mix up rather than me just doing it because I get bored with what I'm doing. But yeah, let me know. I would love you guys so much if there was something else that you guys wanted to see. Just let me know. Otherwise, we'll stick with what we're doing because you guys still enjoy it, right? But otherwise, that is going to wrap things up for today's episode of ProRevenge. I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another episode of Entitled Parents. Bye.